T-minus 10, 9, 8,
The clock is
7.
operating. We're underway.
Tranquility Base here. Endeavor, go at throttle up.
Now I'm going to secure it on the operator station. Did you copy? Yes. Yes, whenever you're ready. And I am going to add a little bit more slack to the tether and remove the unnecessary tethers. All right. And so where? So far to the left. No. We cannot go there because there's antenna there. All right. You cannot see it, but it's over there. All right. Inaudible. Go. Let's go up then. Up. All right. Are you ready? Start motion. Very good. Excellent. Good motion. No. Let's stop it. Stopped. And let me move a little bit. And let's go up some more. Slow motion. Motion started. I see motion. Motion is good. All right, and I think that's enough. Let me straighten it. And let's fold it as much as we can. I don't think we can go ahead and start folding it. Yes, I think so. Very good.
With the Strela's job done, your chicken is moving it back pretty much to its original position, up and down along the Pierce docking compartment. They were just talking about whether to go ahead and fold the manually operated crane's boom. And it appears that your chicken is encouraging that to happen.
Looks like... how is it folding? It's folding fine. It's very good. It's very nice. And I have no dizziness. Everything is fine. And let's secure it. Let's strengthen, or rather straighten the extender. There we go. All right, so basically we are far enough from the antenna, so we're fine. And we have basically retracted it.
Да.
Here, your chicken is in view at the controls of the Strela, the manually operated crane. He's in the process of securing it in its original position. You can just see Kotov moving up the Strela boom. The Strela's done its job. It's carried Kotov to a position where he could retrieve the Christmas tree, the adapter with its 3 bundles of debris protection devices from PMA-3, the pressurized mating adapter
We should basically
at the Unity node of the International Space Station, a distance of about 60 feet from the base of that crane.
Try a wire, and no, we will try to remate it, and then we will take care of the work site. All right, very good.
The Christmas tree was successfully retrieved and positioned on the forward end of the Zvezda service module on the so-called small diameter of the Zvezda. That positioning is not far from where Yurchikin and Kotov will install the panels in one of those 3 bundles. There are 5 of those panels, and they'll install those toward the end of their spacewalk today.
I just had a look where it's attached. Are you ready? Yes. Let's go ahead and translate towards me in work. Oleg, have you already retracted the extender? Yes. Retracted and straightened. All right, very good. All right, very good. And let me remove it and unlatch it and where was it? See on the other side. Yes, yes, that's the edge of it. And can you see it? Yes. All right. And I'm opening. It's out, and I'm handing it over. Let's change hands. Can you see it?
Да. Я просто встаю.
Yes.
Так, как будто я хожу вместе.
Inaudible. And let's try to do it together. There we go. Hold it. Holding. Yes, I'm holding it. Now it's going to move towards you. I'm going to push it towards you slowly. A little bit more. I'm letting go. You got it? Yes. There we go. And this is the ball latch. Yes, hold it, and I will change hands. All right, yes, I have changed hands. All right.
Missing. The end effector is missing. All right, copy. All right. So we are really missing the end effector. That will be helpful to have on. Okay, here is the kit. Hold on. Okay, I'm holding on to it. All right. Put it under the red one. It has been installed. Okay, let me catch it first.
Так. Проволока.
And take the wire tie.
Все, могу твой ред.
Okay, I can remove your red.
Нет, лучше бы не.
No, it's better not to remove it. Do you want the red to be on? Yes.
Хорошо, я тебе его сейчас
Well, okay, in that case, I'll give it back to you. That's fine.
просто конец оставил. Во.
All right, that's excellent.
Так. Сейчас посмотрим.
Okay, let us see where I can sew it and where I can secure it to.
Так, я пока закрываю
Okay,
первый план.
I'm closing
18
the first
и размещаю.
flap 18-1,
Принято. 18.
and then I'm putting 18-3 in between them. So have you connected 18-1?
Закрыт.
Yes, I have, and close the flap.
Заглушки.
And the plugs are in place,
Хорошо.
have been mated in place. Copy, that's good.
Так. С вилками. Но... Нет, есть вилки.
Okay, I see them. Now we are demating FP11, HFP11-3. All right.
Один.
11-4.
Just seconds over 3 hours into this afternoon's spacewalk, crew members, lead spacewalker and Expedition 15 Commander Fyodor Yurchikin and cosmonaut Oleg Kotov are working on the upper side of the Zvezda service module to reroute a GPS cable.
Yes.
It's the second of two major tasks in today's spacewalk. The first involves retrieval and installation of debris protection panels on the conical section of the Zvezda service module, the sloped part between the forward end and the main body of the module. That task was interrupted for the installation of for the rerouting of the cable. The retrieval of the so-called Christmas tree containing 3 bundles of debris protection panels and an adapter was achieved successfully using the hand-operated Strela crane and with an extender on its telescoping boom. Kotov rode that Strela crane's boom all the way out to a position above pressurized mating adapter number 3, which is attached to the Unity node of the International Space Station. That's where the Christmas tree was attached. He attached the Christmas tree to an extender on the Strela and then subsequently released it from PMA 3, and with Yurchikin operating the crane, brought it back to a position on the small end, the forward end of the Zvezda service module.
Our connector, that is correct.
Took a little bit of effort to fix that.
Connector will have to be.
But once that was done, the 2 cosmonauts broke away from the debris project and went on with the current task, the rerouting of the GPS cable. Once the cable is rerouted and tested, they'll move back to the debris panels, taking 1 of the 3 panels off the Christmas tree and installing those panels. There are a total of 5 in the bundle that they'll remove from the Christmas tree, and they'll install those in pre-planned positions on that sloping conical section of the Zvezda service module.
Okay.
6 panels already are in place.
FFA 11-2 with the cable that we brought in. That is correct. It should be 18-2 connected to the cable that you just brought in. Okay, now they're mated, and I'm stowing the extra items. Copy.
Again, 6 debris protection modules were installed on the service module. That installation took place August 16, 2002, during a spacewalk by Expedition 5 Commander Valery Korzun and Flight Engineer Peggy Whitson. Those panels had come up in a bundle of their own on Endeavour during STS-111 in June of 2002.
I agree.
The Christmas tree, the remaining 3 bundles, and the adapter were delivered by Discovery during STS-116 last December, and they were attached to PMA-3 during a spacewalk by Bob Kerbeam and Expedition 15 crew member Sunita Williams.
Well, in order to take it off the one connector, I had to move 2.
A total of 12 panels remain in the 2 bundles that will be left on the Christmas tree after today's work, and they'll be installed by Yurchikin and Kotov during a June 6 spacewalk.
Excellent. Good job. This is my personal praise to you and from the designer. Well, I'm sure the designer is concerned, and well, what if you cannot find it later? Therefore, that's a very good technique. Well, if we couldn't find this one, we would have mated it to a different one. Not to worry. Well, they're just 4 items, that's all. Right. But who is counting?
Around, if you will. Even inaudible speaking at the same time. Well, really get some rest. Oleg is going to come and help you. So, and then you'll go from there. I'm fine. This is what medical specialists are recommending. All right.
Вот мы кино включили. Про Федора. Кино включили.
And now we are getting the movie about Fedor. It's not quite easy to remove the tether. And inaudible speaking at the same time. That's why you cannot do it. Well, theoretically, yes, and I'm trying to move it, and there is no room anymore. Inaudible. Yes, but it's fine. I'm going to take care of that. All right. Both bolts have been taken care of, and the wrench. All right. Inaudible. I don't know. Maybe on the side. I don't see it yet. And the sooner the better. And I'm removing the red. It's removed. And 4 and 5 are removed. Very good, and they are secured on the red. All right. And the wire is cut, and the panel is in place. Very good. Oleg, maybe you can go there later, and it's 4 and 5 on my side, and or is it more convenient to go on that side? Let's go, try to go on that side through the window number 9. All right.
Так, это у нас солнечные, да?
And those are the solar rays, right?
Еще раз, что это?
Come again, what was it?
Справа.
Is it solar rays on my right?
Справа, да.
Yes, it's solar rays, the edge of the solar ray.
Жалко, Саня. Не в служебном море, сейчас поглядел бы. Да.
So, what do you see there? Did you look through the small window? Yes, just looked into the small window.
Еще нет.
Not there yet, not yet.
Мне левая рука совсем.
And my left, I'm trying to mostly use my left hand, and inaudible interruption of comm, and that is in place.
Так.
Alright, basically that's it. Can you see? Yes, I can see it. So what can I say? Panel number 3 is over panel number 4 for about 15 centimeters. Alright. And I'm going to rotate it, put it in place, and basically that's it. Further, and you're moving inaudible to number 2. And I can go ahead and install number 5. It looks like that should be fine. I think we should fiddle with it a little bit more. Alright. And I'm not going to remove it completely, though. See by how much it's biased, yes. And
Так, я вниз почему-то не могу. Смотри, не зацепился или где? Сейчас гляну.
Let's see whether I am finding yes, yeah, fine, just on the panel and inaudible interruption of comm. Looks like 5 and 4, they're pretty much the same. And it looks like it can be deactivated only in the emergency configuration.
Может, здесь что было? Так, сейчас подальше светит. Отошел. Давай попробуем.
Let's try to do it. No, that's fine.
О, рука.
Oh, see, I can actually using my hands to untighten it. No, that's fine. That's enough. It's not moving. It's not moving for some reason. Oh, there we go. See the bracket? No, not quite. Let's see.
Она просто сейчас перекатывает.
It is just has a distorted shape. I don't want to remove it completely. And is it working? Inaudible? No, I didn't want to remove it. I wanted to move it a little bit, but it looks like it's not gonna go through because they are moving and then they got stuck. Yes, because there is a little slant and right.
Но у нас 4, 5 не станут
And 4 and 5 will not be in that configuration, right?
А мы сейчас, знаешь, как сделаем?
Well, this is what we can do. I'll try to do.
Так.
Let's see.
Слушай, а может...
Maybe they're going to fit, do you think? Let's see. I'll install 5 and see what happens. Then we will cut 4. Right, and right, let's try to install 5. And that is if it's going to fit, because there are cables there. So we'll see. I'll try to move a little bit.
Так.
Can you hold the panel, please? Yes. And I'll remove the lower red.
Угу.
Let's try to move them a little bit. Maybe it's going to be better. Yes, let's try to shift them a little bit. Yes, we'll see.
Так, я разворачиваюсь аккуратненько там.
So let's rotate a little bit as long as we're not touching the inaudible. Sentence not finished. All right, there we go, like this. All right. So basically, at first we take care of 5, right? Let me shift a little bit.
Так, это плата. Она плата.
And this is the plate, right? Yeah, this plate is on the way. Let's see, how about the board? Can the board be moved? It can be.
Тут миллиметр, там миллиметр.
A millimeter here, a millimeter there.
Придется снимать. Давай я на себя сейчас. Так, ну, рад.
Let me pull a little bit to myself and
Пятая на мне не может с этой стороны рад не возьму.
5 is on you? No, 5 is not on me because it's not going to fit on that side. All right, so on which one? Which one should I use the lower? Number 5.
Висит.
Attached. All right.
Срезаем.
Notable.
Spacewalkers Fyodor Yurchikhin in the red striped suit and Oleg Kotov in the blue striped suit, both wearing, of course, Russian Orlan spacesuits, continuing to work with installation of debris panels on the conical section of the Zvezda service module. They're down to the last couple of panels in that 5-panel bundle, and they're working to fit those in before they complete bolting them down.
And it's cut on my side as well. I'm going to let go your side.
Так, теперь 5-го.
And now number 5. There we go.
Не, снизу.
And we can try to do it from below. Yes, there we go. That side fits.
И как?
And as close as possible. Yes, there we go. We could use the notches. Securing. Yes, and I'm right on my side. All right.
All's gone very well. They've made up time during their spacewalk to overcome, at least in part, a 45-minute delay in the start of the extravehicular activity. That delay in the spacewalk start was occasioned by communications checks while the spacewalkers were still in the Pirs airlock. Those communications checks revealed some problems that took a while to finish, and the result was that 45-minute late start with the spacewalk beginning at 2:05 p.m. Central Time.
This shift is not sleeping, you know.
Here in the International Space Station Flight Control Room, the Orbit 2 team remains on duty. This group of flight controllers came on at 8 this morning and is scheduled to see the spacewalkers right through the end of the spacewalk. They're here until about 8 p.m., a 12-hour shift.
Let me look.
This team is led by Flight Director Heather Rarick, and she's supported by Chris Cassidy, a Capcom. Also on this shift and very much involved in today's activities is Daryl Shook, the Extravehicular Activity Officer, or EVA officer, the lead spacewalk officer for Expedition 15. Shook is shown here on the telephone. He's wearing the grayish long-sleeve shirt. Members of the Orbit 3 shift are just coming in to the room. They'll take a handover from their Orbit 2 counterparts and then assume duty monitoring station activities post-spacewalk activities, and they'll take over at about 8 p.m. Again, all continues to go smoothly. Spacewalk activities went very well once crew members got outside after that 45-minute delay relating to some communications issues.
Is at the BU. Are you behind him? Yes, I'm about a meter behind him. That's good.
Так, я захожу.
Okay, I'm ingressing. Go ahead. We'll give you a go for ingress. Okay. And there are towels in here. Well, you can just throw them in. Yes. Volodya, shall we wipe our surfaces again? No, it's not necessary. Just bring them inside.
Так, я отцепил полотенце внутрь.
Okay, I have detached them. The towels are inside. Copy.
Шарик снять. На red.
Do you see the ball on the red? Yes, here is the red. No, I'll attach them to mine.
Так, я захожу.
Okay, I'm ingressing. Go ahead.
Все.
That's it.
Гольф конец. Ну да. Так.
Okay, you are reattaching yourself. Okay, you go in, you turn around, and I will give you all the items, all the things we have.
Сейчас их себе.
Okay, let me move closer in.
С криком «Дом, милый дом».
And with a great announcement, hooray, we're back home, we're moving in. Okay, stand by just a second. That's my left arm.
Так, секунду.
Just a second, I'm reattaching myself onto this point.
Так, крылок бэк.
Crew lock bag is attached.
Все.
That's it, copy. So let's move it to the second hook so it's not in the way. Okay, the second hook is in.
Spacewalkers Fyodor Yurchenkin and Oleg Kotov moving into the airlock of the Pierce docking compartment at the end of
Not in yet.
what turned out to be a very successful spacewalk after
Let me
a bit of a late start.
change my position. Well,
Что-то еще, что-нибудь.
what do you want? Do you have more things to hand me in? No, no more items. And I'm ingressing now. Copy. You're ingressing.
Внутри.
I'm inside.
Принято. Оба.
Copy. Both EVA operators are inside.
Оба внутри.
Yes, we're both inside. Everything is clear. The hook is outside, and I'm taking down the protective ring. Okay, be careful when you're moving inside, and we're deactivating the sublimators. Further, let me help you. EV2 sublimator is off, OFF. Copy. Move closer.
Сейчас попробую.
Okay, let me try. And EV1 sublimator is off, so further sublimator is off. Copy.
Ждем 10 минут.
Okay, we're waiting for a minute.
Шестой.
So have you got 6? Yes, I've got a 6, and we're in the process of taking down the protective ring. Copy. We're standing by. The protective ring is off, and we are looking at the rubber surfaces and the gaskets. Copy, let me help you. Let me just look at the side.
Защитное кольцо сложено.
The protective ring is in place. We have folded it down. Copy. Okay, everything is in place. Copy. While we have the time, I continue looking at the rubber surfaces, the gaskets. Is everything clear? What about the opening of the hatch? Everything is clear. It's clean. There's no damage.
Im All. 2 russische Kosmonauten haben bei einem 5-stündigen Außeneinsatz Platten an der ISS angebracht, die vor dem Einschlag von Meteoriten schützen sollen. Zudem ersetzten sie ein schadhaftes Antennenkabel für die Satellitennavigation. Nächste Woche sollen die beiden Männer noch einmal ins All, um weitere Arbeiten zu erledigen.
Okay, so the first handrail is 1316, is that correct? Yes, Feder, that's right.
Here in Houston, EVA officer Daryl Shook reporting to Flight Director Heather Rarick that the crew members have begun their translation onto the Zarya module for the second task of the spacewalk. In that task, they are installing a section of Ethernet cable across the exterior of Zarya, wired tied to a series of handrails.
We're in great spirits as well, and we feel fine, and that's what the medical parameters show as well. And
we'll show that graphic again and show you the work site on the Zarya module. The red line indicating the cable that will be strung this morning by Yurchikhin and Kotov as they will carry that out, wound up on a cable reel. They'll translate to the forward end of the Zarya in the upper left here and unreel that cable and attach it, secure it across the length of the module. This Ethernet cable will complete the setup of a remote local area network setup that would allow commanding of inside the Russian segment of the station from within the U.S. section of the space station if that were to become necessary. But once again, we got live downlink from the International Space Station, and just at the bottom of the frame below the solar array, you can see one of the spacewalkers as they are moving onto the Zarya module. Just going out of the Soyuz spacecraft, going out of the frame at the top, in the top center now, that to orient you, that is the Pirs docking compartment, the module from which the spacewalk began, and to which Yurchikhin and Kotov have already attached 3 sample canisters for the biorisk experiment. The crew members began the spacewalk at 9:23 Houston time this morning, about 7 minutes ahead of schedule. And by the time they had completed the first task, the installation of the biorisk containers, they were a good 20 minutes ahead of the published timeline.
Okay, and I'm going to organize my tethers around here first. Yes, Oleg, I understand. Go ahead.
Installation of this cable requires disconnecting the current connection of cables at the forward end of the Zarya control module, disconnecting X447 from the X437 cable.
How'd you guess it was Feder?
And then plugging in the new section of the cable.
That's what we thought too.
Securing it in place and then methodically moving aft along the Zvezda module, unreeling the cable as they go, and wire tying that cable down to a series of handrails as they go.
Okay, I'm going to take just a short break for myself. That's Feder.
This camera view now appears to be the red striped suit. That would be Fyodor Yurchikhin. Oleg Kotov is wearing the Orlan suit that has the blue stripe across the sides and the top of the backpack.
And I have disconnected from the crew log back. Copy. And I'm starting the task.
Володь, мы еще застраховали каждую эту самую проволокой.
And Volodya, we also have secured each of the clamps or holders with a wire tie, just in case. Copy. Fedor. And Fedor, I have the cable. And Volodya, the sphere lead for the U.S. That was routed for the U.S. side is actually pushing against the cover with its butterfly nut end. So I can't open it. Okay, then you would have to move that sphere lead somewhere. Okay? Unfortunately, there is really nothing to secure this end of the sphere lead to around here. Maybe to the base or the standoff of the cover. Yeah, that's just the recommendation, really. Okay, and I demated it, so now I'm gonna try to see where I can maybe temp stow it. Maybe I can put it on a pip in here, and then I will secure it to the same handrail, because there is really no other handrail that I can secure it to that wouldn't impact opening this cover later on. Okay. Maybe to the plate or 1502 handrail. Well, there's 1502 and 1501 that are around here. Maybe 1503 we can install something there and tie it there in place. Yeah, it's not a matter of principle really, Oleg. Wherever you can, just secure it. Okay. We will. For some reason, Oleg, I'm being pulled towards you. And Fedor, we're thinking that the sublimator is kind of helping you being pulled that way. Understand. And I'm going to tighten the fair lead here on 1503, Oleg. Yes, on the bracket of 1503. And I'm going to be taking pictures of this area here later on, and I will take picture specifically of this configuration. Thank you, Oleg.
Ты когда потянешь, я
And Oleg, I'm going to pull,
просто подтягиваю.
and you go ahead and tighten. Yes, thanks, brother.
Значит, первым установить.
And the first one is installed.
You're looking at a live view of
Copy, Fedor.
Expedition 15 Commander Fyodor Yurchikhin in the Orlan suit with the red stripe, as he and flight engineer Oleg Kotov are
In a different way, because we also have the U.S. Fair Lead here.
are now just about 1/2 hour into
Facing away.
today's spacewalk.
Okay.
Spacewalk began at 9:23 Houston time this morning with a hatch opening on the Piers docking compartment.
There, Oleg?
And the crew members have already completed the first task of the spacewalk, installing sample canisters for the biorisk experiment on the Piers docking compartment.
I understand that those are the cable bundles that are routed under the MLI, and the FGB ones are routed into the shell there. Yeah, can you see the numbers on the connectors? Of course. Let me see. Cable, the SM cable, Volodya. On the cable, it has faded completely, but the connector.
Station has moved outside of the range of television coverage right now. We expect that to change in about 15 minutes.
400.
Did notice in the close-up in the last view that shot of Yurchikhin from seen from below the solar array wing.
Yes.
There were clearly some ice particles that were moving away from the station at the time. That presence of those ice particles discussed earlier by the Houston Support Group in Moscow and the EVA officer here in Houston. Today's spacewalk is the 83rd in support of International Space Station assembly and maintenance, the 55th spacewalk to originate within ISS, and the 22nd to start in the Piers docking compartment. For both Yurchikhin and Kotov, today is the second spacewalk of their career, following up on a 5-hour, 25-minute spacewalk they conducted last week on May 30th. Total spacewalk time in support of ISS assembly and maintenance, including all those spacewalks that were staged from visiting space shuttles, before the beginning of today's EVA at 503 hours and 28 minutes, and add 43.5 minutes and counting to that total now. Today's spacewalk began at 9:23 Houston time this morning, about 7 minutes ahead of the planned start time. This again, now a live view. Camera on the truss section of the International Space Station, looking aft, and here we see Fyodor Yurchikhin in the suit with the red stripe, working atop the Zarya module.
That is not in the way.
It is due to the position mounting of the camera that for our view today, up is down.
I'm at 1308 right now. Handrail is my next one.
At this time, the station is just about to cross the equator from northwest to southeast over the central Pacific Ocean.
Behind the solar array here. And I'm getting on this side, right? between here and the solar array. Right. And now, smile. Take a picture. One more time. I'm going to 1305 handrail.
Интересно, второчной краской летит, да, Федор?
And is it...
This live view shows us Commander Fyodor Yurchikhin working, and you can see just to the left of the spacewalker that land cable reel that we showed you a picture of in the graphic earlier.
Okay, now pose for me.
Cable is paying off to our left in this view. Earlier it was mentioned that it was believed that there was a view of ice particles that were departing the vicinity of the space station.
Wait a little, Oleg, I'll take why.
There's a discussion underway, and that currently the thinking is that rather than ice particles coming from the spacesuit itself, that more likely what is being seen is paint flecks that are being liberated as Yurchikhin works on the handrails along the Zarya module. Space station is now in about a 2-minute period of handover between coverage on satellites, and when our KU coverage resumes, we'll have coverage, television coverage from that point to just before 11 o'clock Houston time this morning. Spacewalkers Fyodor Yurchikhin and Oleg Kotov are working ahead of the published timeline. They've completed task number 1 on this spacewalk, installing biorisk sample containers on the Pirs docking compartment. And they are now moving along, stringing a Ethernet cable along the exterior of Zarya.
Now there's the antenna here.
This new section of cable will complete the setup of a remote local area network that will allow, should it ever become necessary, will allow commanding of the Russian section of the space station from computers inside the U.S. section of the space station.
All right, here.
Within the last 20 minutes, flight engineer Sonny Williams reported a good ping test, the signal sent to verifying the existing cable that is out there on the Zarya module. That test is due to be repeated again once the spacewalking crew members have completed their work and have left the area of the Zarya module.
Do you have 2 hooks here? Because one is...
EVA Officer Daryl Shook reporting to Flight Director Heather Rarick that the crew members at this point seem to be at about the midpoint of the Zarya module, working their way from the aft end to the forward end of Zarya, laying out this Ethernet cable.
I released it for now, and continuing
to work ahead of the published timeline for today's spacewalk. which had a total phase elapsed time, total spacewalk time, according to the plan today, of 5 hours and 50 minutes.
All right, it's all connected. And make sure you use your available hook also, because you're getting close to radiator. All right.
Хорошо, спасибо. Хорошо, спасибо.
I will. Everything is on the handrail secured.
Хорошо.
Good.
Так, я вышел на продольный.
I'm on the
And now another view in which we get a first good look at spacewalker Oleg Kotov on the right in this view. Kotov is wearing the Orlan suit with the blue stripes down the side of the leg and across the top of the backpack. Fyodor Yurchikhin wearing the Orlan suit with the red stripe.
There should be a shooter for moving cargo.
The two spacewalkers are about roughly halfway through this second task of the spacewalk. They are translating along the body of the Zarya module, laying down an Ethernet cable and attaching it as they go to a series of handrails. Plan calls for Yurchikhin and Kotov to attach this cable to 33 handrails along the FGB, the Zarya module, as they continue to, as they move along.
It happened. Remember we were discussing on which side I should be using it, and guess we didn't guess how it will be. It is easier to bring it back, attach it, and then come back. That would be easier. And Vladimir, the paint is really flaking. Right. Can you say it again? The paint is flaking off. I see. Vladimir, another question. There are SKK plates here. Should I take pictures of them while I have a camera in my hand? Yeah, if you don't mind, if you are in a comfortable position. Sure.
This camera shot giving us a good view of both spacewalkers. Fyodor Yurchikhin on the left, Oleg Kotov on the right. Yurchikhin in the suit with the red stripe, Kotov in the suit with the blue stripe. As they continue to string Ethernet cable across the top of the Zarya module. In this view, the top of the module, the zenith side, which normally faces away from the Earth, is pointed down in this frame. A moment ago, the spacewalkers also confirming to Mission Control in Houston what had been being discussed by the flight control teams earlier, that the view of particles that were departing the area of the space station do in fact seem to be paint flecks coming from the handrails of Zarya, rather than ice particles, which had been the initial suggestion.
Олег, аппарат нынче работает, да?
Alex,
Так, следующий у нас 13:06.
and the camera is working, right? Next handrail is 1306.
Да, 12:06.
1206.
Так, начинаю протяжку.
Okay, starting dragging the cable.
Так, а наклонять куда надо? Первый, который.
And where should I
Если первый рядом
bend it?
проводка направляющая, то их надо как бы развести и
Well, they should be pulled apart
кабельные держатели в сторону радиатора.
and put the cable holder towards the clamp, towards the radiator. All right, I'll do that.
Ты переставляешь, что ли, я его затягиваю.
Are you moving it away? No, I am tightening it.
Наклонять надо будет.
Well, I'm
Now the same scene, shot from the other side. Yurchikhin is on the right. Kotov in the suit with the blue stripe and partially obscured by the solar array. And the white cable is the Ethernet cable that is being paid out on the reel held by Yurchikhin. And attached by him, and then following along, Kotov is securing that cable to those handrails.
all right.
Yurchikhin and Kotov moving along smartly on today's timeline. They began today's spacewalk early. The hatch opened on the Piers docking compartment at 9:23 Houston time this morning. And within 15 minutes, they had moved outside of Piers, brought along a good bit of their equipment, and had completed the first task, installing 3 sample containers for the biorisk experiment on the exterior of Piers. And then they moved on to the Zarya module and have begun laying this Ethernet cable, which will be the final section to complete a remote LAN hookup that is designed to, should the need ever arise, allow commanding of Russian section of the space station from within the U.S. section of the space station.
This way.
According to the published timeline, this installation task is to be completed about 1 hour from now. They may be completed earlier than that, as the crew members have been working ahead of the timeline. And once they do, they'll move on to the final task, and that's installation of a dozen debris shield panels along a section of the Zvezda module.
All right, very good then.
Zvezda module, for those who are familiar with its look, has a large diameter section and a small diameter section. There is a conical section that connects the two, and series 23 in all service module debris panels are being installed around that conical section to provide additional protection from micrometeoroid debris. The first 6 panels were installed back in August of 2002 during Expedition 5, during a spacewalk by Commander Valery Korzun and Flight Engineer Peggy Whitson.
And I was basically took care of...
An adapter containing 18 more panels was delivered to the space station last December and installed on pressurized mating adapter number 3 during a spacewalk by astronauts Bob Kirby and Sonny Williams.
Everything's going to be fine, don't worry.
In Yurchikhin and Kotov's first spacewalk last week, they used the Strela cargo crane on the Pirs compartment, one of the Strela cranes, to translate to the U.S. section of the space station and retrieve that adapter known as a Christmas tree and move those 3 bundles of SMDP, or service module debris panels, back onto the Zvezda module. And last week, Yurchikhin and Kotov installed 5 of those panels, 1 of the 3 bundles of panels. The remaining 2 bundles, totaling 12 more panels, being installed today on the zenith side of that conical area, connecting the large and small diameter sections of Zvezda.
It's got to be closer. And it basically stays around the station, doesn't float away too far. And let me pull it a little bit, but not too much, yes. And I think I can go ahead and start working on number 2, right. And I think that 1305 is better, do you think? Okay, let me make a pull test.
In this view, we see Kotov on the left. He's wearing the suit with the blue stripe. Yurchikhin on the right, the suit with the red stripe. And they are working from the aft end of Zarya to the forward end of Zarya, or left to right in our current view. Laying down this cable that's on a cable reel and securing it to a series of handrails as they go.
And over here, we need to see where they are going to be getting together. 1300, I can see it. And maybe it's a better option to use 1305. Maybe it should be even installed closer to 1304. See, there is a bend over here. And let me use 1300, and then when you come, we will, closer to me, we will continue. All right, and the second one is leaned towards the radiator. It's not touching the radiator surface. Copy. Guys, what is the pressure in the suits and the pressure in the tanks? 0.38, 380, 360, 0.39. Copy, thank you. Quite an amazing view, exactly. Stay where you are. And will you give it to me on the way back? Yes. And let's do it this way. Excellent.
Еще один сделай.
And do another one. 3-4.
Готов выше.
Tell me when you're ready. All right. Will do. 3-4. There we go.
The Expedition 15 crew members taking a moment for photographs. Kotov on the left, getting a couple of shots of his commander. And in just the right side of the screen, you can see the cable reel and the Ethernet cable that's paid out in to the left or in the aft section, aft end of the Zarya module. As Kotov continues to wire tie that cable into place.
And I'm going to put them the other way around, otherwise it's going to be difficult to pull them out. See, if you don't like it, just swap them, will do. You mean the latches, right? Yes, that's correct. And it looks like it's going to be possible to tighten them. Yes. And it looks like we don't have to take pictures of all the latches, I mean every latch, just several latches at the same time. Right. Just along the translation path. All right, will do. Inaudible. No, I don't really feel it, so let's see. Can you have a look? Is it facing up? Yeah, there it is. And then I'm going to go that way. Thank you, Vladimir.
Я затягиваю так, не очень, чтобы совсем.
And I'm tightening them.
То есть плотно, но не до совсем такого скрипа.
Not to the hard stop. Kind of tight, but not really to the hard stop. Right. And definitely it's possible to tighten them very tightly, but I don't think it's reasonable. Right. Move your hand.
Now, 1 hour and 9 minutes into today's spacewalk, the second spacewalk of Expedition 15, and the second in the careers of Fyodor Yurchikhin on the left and Oleg Kotov on the right, as the two work along the zenith side of the Zarya control module, installing a section of Ethernet cable.
And I'm going to number 4.
This cable being strung from a connection on the aft end of Zarya up to the forward end will complete the installation of a new local area computer network setup that ultimately would allow the commanding of the Russian section of the space station from computers inside the U.S. section of the space station, if such a thing should ever be required. The spacewalkers completed the first task, and that's the installation of sample containers for the BioRisk experiment, a study of spaceflight impact on bioorganisms. Those containers were attached to the Pirs docking compartment.
There we go.
In the first 15 minutes of today's spacewalk. Installation of this cable is the second task, which is scheduled to be completed within the hour, or within an hour from now. Leaving the third task, and that is installation of another 12 panels of service module debris shielding. This follows up on the installation of 5 of those panels, which Yurchikhin and Kotov installed last week during their spacewalk. There were 6 other panels installed in August of 2002 during a spacewalk by 2 of the Expedition 5 crew members, Valery Korzun and Peggy Whitson. The 12 panels that will be installed today, all of them approximately 2 feet by 3 feet and 1 inch thick, will bring to 23 the total number of panels installed along the a section of this service module between the large diameter section and the small diameter section, and will improve the module's shielding from micrometeoroid debris.
So I'm not going to tighten it over here. Let's see how it's going to work out.
Yurchkin and Kotov have been working to string this Ethernet cable from the aft end of the module to the forward end of the module. And you can see in this camera view now that they are approaching the forward end. They are near where Zarya module is attached to pressurized mating adapter number 1. Once they do, the remainder of this task requires them to retrace their steps, to take photos of the connectors as they go, and to translate along the route to ensure that the cable is securely fastened to the handrails to which it has been attached. Kotov is the crew member on the left in this view, and he is doing the attachment of the cable to the handrails. Yurchkin has been moving along in front of him with the cable reel carrier.
And number 4 is tightened on 1306. Copy. 4 is tightened, guys. And be careful with the bundle so that it wouldn't touch the radiator. Vladimir, I'm trying to move the cable a little bit away. I have a feeling that the cable is applying some force on the bundle. It's kind of pulling it. And I hoped that it would be on the left side, but it looks like, you see, it looks like it is the other way around. So it's relatively hard to work with it. How are things? It's moving hard. And see, maybe you can route the cable over here. No, I'm trying to move it over here, and see, I'm trying to move it over here, and it's moving away. Try to move it closer to the structure in audible speaking at the same time. Yes, I tried to do it more than once, but it looks like it's not working out. It just wouldn't go. And we should have made one end very short. Can we move it behind the antenna? I don't think so. I don't think it's going to work out. Maybe we can move it this way. See, the cable tightens. And we have a 10-minute rest period as per our schedule. Yes, we're going to go ahead and have some rest. Are you getting the video? We are getting the video. All right. Everything is fine. How do you feel? Everything is fine. We feel good. Yes. We'll get some rest, and while we're resting, I'll try to route this cable over here.
Через минут 10 будет появляться.
In about 10 minutes, we're going to have LOS,
Хотя Кубань будет продолжать.
and we will still have KU band in the meantime.
Появляется минут на 12.
All right. All right, we copy.
И, ребят, в принципе, если Олег
And guys,
поближе к Федору,
if Oleg comes closer to Fedor,
будет придерживать
yes, I'm on the way.
будет придерживать кабель, что
He can hold the cable, then it's going to make things easier. Yes, I basically have already routed the cable. I'm fine, it's not going to be sticking out.
Хорошо.
All right, very good.
Хорошо.
Ну вот, все, зафиксировано.
And it's secure.
Ты проходи дальше, я просто здесь.
Move on. You go ahead and continue
Сейчас
pulling the reel, and I will need to
привязывай, иди уже этот.
get from one hand row to another. Hang on. Just tighten that end over there. Secure it, and I will take care of my part.
Видишь, как она уходит?
And you see where it's going,
Так, давай я знаю, что я вначале своим коротким туда.
and I will
Держу.
try to use my short one first. Hold it. All right. Hold it so that it wouldn't float away. All right.
Spacewalkers Fyodor Yurchikhin and Oleg Kotov on the left and right in this view are moving along with the task of stringing a section of Ethernet cable along the Zarya module. They began at the aft end of the module and have now reached the forward end, the round, the ball-shaped section known as the transfer compartment of the GAA, which you can see in the upper left-hand portion of this view.
From the handrail, because it's tethered to you, correct? Yes.
Снял? Да. Отлично.
Done? Yes.
And they are just a couple of minutes away from a scheduled 10-minute rest period. Yurchikhin and Kotov have been going for an hour and 19 minutes since the hatch opened at 9:23 Houston time this morning. Well, beyond that, they have been awake since 1:30 Houston time today
Good position.
to make the preparations for today's spacewalk.
Короткая, жесткая.
We need to tighten it.
And this rest period is the first scheduled for them.
Related to some rigid structure. Well, you first uncoil it, and then we'll remove.
The station is currently orbiting with a very high solar beta angle, and there is almost no nighttime during these spacewalks. Russian spacesuits, which do not come with standard equipment, do not come with a set of lights. Ordinarily, crew members are given night passes to rest, but Yurchikhin and Kotov have been going for more than an hour and 20 minutes now without that rest period. They're scheduled to take 10 minutes to stop and catch their breath and take a look around coming up here momentarily.
10:31,
Ну, вот этот, наверное,
and it looks like 10:32 is better. Yes, and pull it there and attach it.
а ты это. Не, зря я прицепил.
And you shouldn't have
Да, оставь. Да, давай.
attached it to the bracket. All right.
Кочергать я не даю. Не.
Wait a moment.
Все даст. Так, ну,
And
действительно, идея о том, что
basically,
сместить пониже, мне
I like the idea of moving it a little bit
вот на этой
lower.
на 13
See on 1300.
так, 10,
Okay, let me see 1036. Let me find 1032. 1030, 1031. So this is the one is without the number, should be 1032. Now basically, see, let's
я сдвинул ее на 13.
I moved it to 1300, a little bit lower to the conical surface, and inaudible. And we could we were originally planning to install it over here. I suggest we install it over here, inaudible. And how? And basically we tighten it over here. So because no, I think this is better because we're going to have the loop, and over there we will use the wire through the loop. All right. Excellent. Looks great. And do we have comm? And how are your hands doing? The hands are doing fine. I'm pretty much fine, and I think I have even adjusted my arms a little bit shorter this way, but I guess I'm fine. And this is what we can do. The cable is not going to go anywhere, so I'm going to pull it out. Yes, pull it out and put the spool in its place and secure the end of the cable right. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I have secured myself, so I'm fine. And if I move my feet like this, do you think it's going to be okay? Am I going to be interfering with anything that you're doing? No, you're going to be fine. All right.
Spacewalkers Fyodor Yurchikhin and Oleg Kotov are about to take the first break of this spacewalk. They are
all right, and I need to
2/3 or so complete with the task of laying this Ethernet cable. This view from a camera on the space station's truss structure shows them at the forward section of the Zarya control module. They're in fact on the top side, facing away from Earth.
It will be secured with,
and once they have completed securing that cable to handrails in this area, and they take 10 minutes to catch their breaths, they'll be retracing their steps, as it were, from the forward end of Zarya back to the aft end, taking photographs as they go and documenting the condition of this local area network computer cable, which is going to complete a setup that would allow commanding of the Russian section of the station from computers within the U.S. section of the space station. They'll translate back along Zarya with their with the cable reel, stow that reel inside the docking compartment, and then remove the crew lock bag filled with the proper tools, and they'll then move on to the final task of today's spacewalk, installation of a dozen debris shield panels along a section of the Zvezda module.
On the wire allows you to move the cap alongside the length of the cable, and all that is going to be under the thermal cover. All right.
Yurchikhin and Kotov have already completed the first task on the spacewalk, and that was installation of a set of sample containers on the exterior of the Pirs docking compartment. Those containers are for the Russian experiment known as BioRisk, which studies the effect of the spaceflight environment on bioorganisms. Those samples will be returned to Earth, as have previous samples in that experiment, to be evaluated for an ecological assessment of the bacteria that is inside them.
So the attachment fixture is at the border of Inaudible and 1300. And all that is covered with MLI.
And as Yurchikhin and Kotov continue their work, their crewmate, flight engineer Sonny Williams, is monitoring their activities from inside the station, inside the Destiny laboratory, where she has also been set up not only to watch what's going on outside, but
Right, and
later in the latter portion of the spacewalk, she'll also be doing some experiment work with the experiment track, setting up hardware and video there, and then moving on later to a scheduled inspection of an exercise device in the Unity node. Before the scheduled conclusion of the spacewalk today, the spacewalk was scheduled to last 5 hours and 50 minutes. It began a few minutes early at 9:23 Houston time today with the opening of the Piers docking compartment hatch. And although Yurchikhin and Kotov had been working ahead of the published timeline, the EVA officer Daryl Shook has reported to the flight director Heather Rarick that the time ahead is gone due to the nature of the task and stringing this cable, and they are currently essentially right on the published timeline, although they had not stopped for their scheduled rest.
all right, and let me move the cable like this. Yes, that's fine. And I have secured it. Stop. And I need to take care of FT because it shouldn't be free floating. Let's see. What are you doing? I'm trying to secure it. No, you need to secure it close to the lurker clips. And I'm trying to get them into lurkers. Hang on. And is it working? The thermal cover is not secured yet. I see. We need to move this one a little bit. Yes, we need to move it. You should have. They really tightened it. Let's see. And how about the wire? The wire is attached to the assembly. Let me see. And do you want me to help you? Lurka is only over here. And there's another one over there. Yes, that one. And it's not going to fit in. The cable is going to fit in, though. Definitely the connecting stove should not be in the little canal. I'm talking about the cable. I'm talking about the cable. And is it working out with the cable? Yes. All right. And now we need the wire. Excellent. And just let me take a picture alongside the cable. Do you need any help? I'm fine. I'm going to secure the wire. And Vladimir, what locations should I use the wires on? Just one location is fine. One attachment point. Near the connector or the connector itself. And let me tighten it near the connector. And I'm also going to make another one a little bit lower. Closer to the handrail. That's very good, and the number of the handrail will be given to you. All right. And I'm going to route it over here. Right. That's good.
This is Mission Control Houston. You're looking at a live view of a spacewalk in progress on the exterior of the International Space Station. Now 1 hour, 34 minutes into today's EVA by Expedition 15 Commander Fyodor Yurchikhin and Flight Engineer Oleg Kotov. Yurchikhin is wearing the Russian spacesuit with the red stripe, Kotov the suit with the blue stripe. Today's spacewalk began at 9:23 this morning. The crew members completed the first task, installing a set of sample containers for the Russian biorisk experiment on the exterior of the Pirs docking compartment. And since then, they've been working, installing a section of Ethernet cable on the exterior of the Zarya control module. This new section of cable run across the side of the module that faces away from Earth, from the aft end to the forward end, will complete the setup of a remote local area network that will allow commanding of the Russian section of the station from within the U.S. section of the space station. Crew members are currently working about on the published timeline. They are wire tying down the last sections of the LAN cable.
And to have another clamp. No. Looks like that's it. That was quick.
And once complete with securing that cable to handrails on the Zarya module,
with a wire,
they
try to do it.
may take a brief break to rest, or they may begin to translate back to the aft end of the Zarya module, taking along the cable reel with them. The reel is what you see here in the just left of center in the screen, floating in front of Kotov.
Yeah, that's better.
They'll take photos of the cable as they retrace their steps along a series of 33 handrails back to the aft end of Zarya, onto the forward compartment of the Zvezda module, and back to the Pirs docking compartment, where they'll deposit that cable reel and take up a crew lock bag filled with tools and supplies.
All right, and another wire.
For the final task on today's spacewalk, that's the installation of another dozen panels of service module debris shielding. These 12 panels will be installed on the zenith side of the station, the side that faces away from Earth, on the conical section that connects the large diameter portion of Zvezda to the smaller diameter portion of Zvezda. The panels in question are about 1 inch thick and approximately 2 feet by 3 feet in size. The size varies in order for the panels to fit in their predetermined spots. Each weighs in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 pounds. The 12 aluminum panels being installed today, in addition to the 5 such panels that Yurchikhin and Kotov put in place on their spacewalk last week, and 6 more panels that were installed on a spacewalk during Expedition 5 in August of 2002, will complete the installation of 23 panels to reinforce the micrometeoroid debris protection afforded to the main module of the Russian section of the International Space Station.
Routed towards the hatch. Closer to the cable. All right, now we're going to remove this part. And maybe we can route it through the Lurkas clip. No, but they're going to tear it away when they start to mate it. That's why we shouldn't do it, because we're going to create a problem for the people who are actually going to be mating it. No, that's better. This is what I'm going to do. And don't tighten it too much, because it's too tight for me. All right, and use the... Keep that part of the... Keep that space over here, and then you will move a little bit, and I will take a picture. Good. That's a good configuration.
And as the International Space Station overflies Saudi Arabia, move briefly out of the range of communications, television communications at any rate, with mission control. We expect TV to resume in about 10 minutes. Voice communication between the spacewalkers and the ground is continuing.
Yeah, this is better. How about this? Yeah, that's better.
Yurchikhin and Kotov are reportedly working right on the published timeline, having given up the 7-minute margin that they built when they began early. They are completing securing the last section of the Ethernet cable at the forward end of the Zarya module, and are scheduled momentarily to begin to retrace their steps. They're scheduled for 20 minutes to translate along with that cable reel along the top of the Zarya module from the forward end, where our graphic shows electrical connector, to translate backward along the route indicated by the red line, which is the Ethernet cable, back to the onto the Zvezda module, and then back to the docking compartment, where they'll deposit the cable reel and pick up a bag of tools to take out with them to the top side of the service module to install the remaining service module debris panels. You may hear referred to as SMDP. That is what that acronym is for, service module debris panels.
It's taken care of. I'm going to make photographs.
Okay, I retrieve the camera, I'm translating back. Copy. Okay, I will remove the EVA device.
All of the tasks on today's spacewalk successfully completed. Yurchkin and Kotov now moving back to the airlock hatch at the Piers docking compartment. In this live view, we can see them beyond the Zarya module's solar array as they head back to their airlock. They reported to Mission Control in Moscow that they are bringing in everything that they are supposed to bring in. They did also mention very late on that they thought that there might be an issue with one of the cameras that they were using, and Kotov was sent to retrieve a backup. But all of the post-activity photographs of the debris shield panels and the Ethernet cable, all taken, reportedly taken without any difficulty. Today's spacewalk began at 9:23 Houston time this morning. That was 7 minutes ahead of the scheduled hatch opening on Piers. Early on, Yurchkin and Kotov got ahead of the timeline.
Okay, so 23, 22, 21, 20, and 19. I can see it from this point. Okay, great, copy.
During the period where they were installing the Ethernet cable, they ran a little longer than planned.
On plane 1, okay. But now I'm removing the 1, 2, 3, and so on in sequential order. Yes. Can you see me now? So far, yes. Okay, let me wave you then.
But they made up time during the installation of the service module debris shield panels. Today's spacewalk was scheduled to last for 5 hours and 50 minutes. It's currently 4 hours and 49 minutes. Crew members appear on the verge of coming back inside and ending the spacewalk, currently an hour ahead of the timeline. An hour ahead of where the original timeline would have today's excursion conclude.
Inaudible. Well, don't worry about it. I'll carry it myself. Because otherwise you have a chance to damage the camera, so don't bother with it. I'll carry it. And then try to arrange it. All right, we'll just run there empty-handed. Okay. Okay, guys.
На длительность выхода на медицинские параметры не влияет.
You know, that particular drive does not have any impact on the data from your biomed, so just do as you please with it. Whoever carries it doesn't matter, okay? I understand that right now we have the side panels left on planes 4 and 2. That is correct. Okay, Oleg, what's up on your side? I'm trying to stow the camera and can't fit it.
No, it's not going to work out. It will. Let's go back home. All right. All right, I will say yes. That's it. I'm coming in. Oleg, we heard LOS. Have you closed everything? Yes, I closed everything on the radio and I'm coming back home. Oh, excellent.
That indication that Fyodor Yurchikhin and Oleg Kotov both on their way back into the Piers docking compartment to wrap up today's spacewalk.
I'm inside. Copy.
Because they had gained some time finishing the prescribed tasks in the EVA today ahead of schedule. They spent a little extra time taking an extra set of pictures of the installed service module debris panels, but are now both moving toward the Piers docking compartment and a conclusion to an EVA that is now 5 hours 23 minutes in length.
No.
This is a live view in the Destiny laboratory of flight engineer Sonny Williams, monitoring the progress of the spacewalk, and in short order she'll be leaving to go back and assist her crewmates as they re-enter the after they re-enter the docking compartment and its hatch into the Russian section of the station is opened.
And I'm on the EVA ladder. Copy, Oleg. And we can see you, Oleg. Very good, and thank you very much, everybody. All right, wave your left leg.
Слушай, все дверь закрою. Да? Да. Я здесь? Нет. Что-то злой. Балди. Я
All right, and I have stowed everything. And all the tethers are inside. All right.
Нет, space. Да. Разворот.
Rotate.
Ну, просто это рабочая станция.
It's the workstation, right? It's in the way. Let's press it like this.
Вверх у тебя есть сантиметров 3.
Maybe about 1 foot up.
Сейчас найти. Ключ оттуда вытащи.
There we go. I'm inside.
Готов снять.
And I'm ready to remove the protective ring. Copy. We are deactivating the sublimators.
That call, it puts the crew members about 5 minutes away from the official end of today's spacewalk with the closing of the hatch of the Piers docking compartment.
The sublimator is deactivated for EVA2, sublimator deactivated for EVA1. Copy. And let me help you. The hatch is closed. And the rollers are in place. Copy. And the handoff has been removed. All right. Very good. Then enjoy the rest of your flight, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Thank you, Vladimir. Thank you. And if you need anything, let us know. And if you want to put this stuff back on PMA, we'll be more than happy to do it.
Да.
That's right. Sunny, hello. How are you? Fine, how are you? Congratulations. What we're doing in DC. Guys, if you're ready, you can go ahead and use cue card number 8, item 2. Stand by. Yes, we're going to take it out and go ahead. And let's rotate. Here we go.
And the call, the hatch closed on the Piers docking compartment, coming at straight up 3 p.m. Central Time, concludes the second spacewalk of Expedition 15.
So
A duration today of 5 hours and 37 minutes. For Yurchikhin and Kotov, that's 2 spacewalks with a total duration of 11 hours and 2 minutes.
Closed. And
And now total EVA time in support of International Space Station assembly and maintenance, 509 hours and 5 minutes.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff of Space Shuttle
A picture-perfect launch. After months of delays, the Space Shuttle Atlantis heads for the International Space Station. In handcuffs and in tears, hotel heiress Paris Hilton is ordered back to jail. And the Saudi prince and the British government, new accusations over billions of dollars in alleged secret payments. It's 8 p.m. at the Kennedy Space Center, 1 a.m. in London. Hello, everyone. I'm Asiye Namdar. Welcome to World News. We begin in Germany, where the G8 summit has come to a close. We'll have more on what came of the meetings in just a moment. But first, we'll look at the absence of a major player, as sick U.S. President Bush missed some of Friday's meetings, and as Suzanne Malveaux reports, he recovered in time to further his missile defense plans.
Out for a walk at Poland's presidential retreat, Mr. Bush admitted to his host he got off to a rough start earlier in the day and needed some fresh air.
Get some fresh air. I got very sick this morning.
While looking better on his stroll in Poland, earlier in Germany at the G8 summit, he had to skip morning meetings. He held his first meeting with France's new president in his private quarters. After a few hours' rest, he rebounded. Aides insisted the president's sour stomach wasn't from Russia's proposal to change his missile defense program, but rather a pesky travel bug. Then it was on to Poland. This is where Mr. Bush hopes to base 10 missile interceptors. It is a key component to the controversial missile defense system, which he wants to build in Eastern Europe. Poland's leadership says it wants to cooperate.
I can tell you that as far as the missile defense system is concerned, the two parties fully agree.
But the Polish government fears that allowing the program to go forward will make its country a target for Russia. But Mr. Bush tried to reassure its nervous ally.
I appreciate the support of the deployment of the missile defense interceptors here in Poland. We will negotiate a fair agreement that enhances the security of Poland.
Russian President Vladimir Putin does not want those missile interceptors placed in Poland. He considers it a threat to Russia's security. Instead, he suggested that those interceptors be put in countries that are friendlier to Russia. He also suggested perhaps they be put in Iraq. Suzanne Malveaux, CNN, Rome.
Welcome back. Here are the main stories we're following. A day after G8 leaders wrapped up their summit, the U.S. president is on a European tour clouded by some controversy, a change in leadership at the top of the U.S. military, and new ideas perhaps to tackle the Iraq question. And an heiress to the Hilton hotel fortune is ordered back to jail to serve out her sentence on drink-driving-related charges. That order reversed the LA County Sheriff's decision this week to let Paris Hilton leave jail early. Hilton had just gotten settled under house arrest in her Hollywood home when she was ordered back to court. Ted Rowlands has more.
She handcuffed? Yeah, she was cuffed.
Paris Hilton's journey back to jail started in handcuffs and a ride with sheriff deputies from her house to a waiting judge who wanted to see her back in court.
Back up! They keep backing up!
Photographers and reporters literally trampled each other, trying to get a glimpse of Hilton as she left. From the air, news helicopters showed the chaos outside the house, broadcasting every second of it.
Jeez, look at these people.
I'm on vacation, and I thought I would see a little bit of this. I almost got stamped over everyone besides the cars.
The media broadcast Hilton's ride through Los Angeles to the courthouse. Her parents followed behind in a black SUV, occasionally pulling alongside. The scene was reminiscent of other only-in-California celebrity moments, including Michael Jackson's race to court in his pajamas and O.J.'s slow-speed Bronco chase.
It's this fascination that goes way beyond the case itself. It's just kind of an event to watch.
It's interesting.
The fascination over Hilton's case grew after she was released from jail and allowed to serve her sentence at home. Many people were outraged over what they thought was preferential treatment by the sheriff. In court, the judge seemed to agree, ordering Hilton, as she sobbed, to serve the rest of her sentence behind bars.
The judge heard arguments. He heard out the county counsel's office representing the sheriff. He heard the defense. He heard the city attorney. He ruled that he was remanding Ms. Hilton to the sheriff's custody to serve the remainder of her sentence.
Late today, the sheriff blasted the judge's decision to send Paris Hilton to jail in the first place, saying others in her situation would never have been treated as harshly by the court. Sheriff Baca also scoffed at claims that he was somehow giving her special treatment.
The only thing that I can detect as special treatment is the amount of her sentence, because under our 10% early release program, she would not have served any time in our jail or would have been directly put on a home electric monitoring system. So the special treatment, in a sense, is because it appears to be her celebrity status. She got more time in jail.
Baca also defended his initial decision to let Hilton serve her sentence at home, saying county doctors told him her mental condition was deteriorating, and he says now she'll be in a special medical unit, indicating she may be a danger to herself.
I'm just going to keep her in a better facility for her condition, meaning one that has a more intense form of medical support, and we'll watch her behavior so that there isn't anything that is harmfully done to herself by herself, which is a great concern to me.
Roland, CNN, Los Angeles.
And 3 months for its latest mission into orbit, and when it eventually launched on Friday, it developed a scar from the effort. NASA engineers are now studying a tear in Atlantis' thermal blanket that's used for re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. Our Miles O'Brien watched as Atlantis sped off for the International Space Station with its 7-member crew.
4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff of Space Shuttle Atlantis.
It was one hail of a launch. 3 months after the Space Shuttle Atlantis got pummeled by a freak hailstorm, the spacecraft left the weather behind, carrying the 7-member crew to space after a nearly flawless countdown.
We can point to the couple little problems we had today, but gosh, we shouldn't do that. We should point to the thousands and thousands that go right to allow this masterful event to happen.
They were supposed to fly in March, but at the end of February, a torrent of 1.5-inch-sized hail left hundreds of huge divots in the orange foam that coats the external fuel tank. Workers spent months trying to fill them in and smooth them out with what amounts to a giant pencil sharpener.
I've been enormously impressed.
The crew is on its way to the International Space Station. Their mission, to install a $360 million truss that carries 4 huge solar wings. They will use 2 robot arms and 3 spacewalks to do the job. They will also pick up station keeper Sonny Williams and drop off her replacement, Clayton Anderson. He is slated to remain in space until the end of October. His mother was bursting with pride.
I tell you, I'm nervous and I'm proud and I'm numb and I'm excited. And, you know, it's wow.
NASA has had little to laugh about this year so far. Before the freak hailstorm, now former astronaut Lisa Nowak drove halfway across the country in diapers to confront a romantic rival. She now faces a trial on attempted kidnapping charges. In April, a NASA worker in Houston shot and killed his boss before turning the gun on himself. And the agency's independent watchdog is under fire for allegedly not doing his job. All in all, a star-crossed 5 months.
Put one foot in front of the other, keep working, work on the mission, keep your head down, and ignore the distractions. That's all you can do.
But on this day, NASA found its lucky stars. The weather was good and the countdown was nearly flawless. The crew of Atlantis has its work cut out for it still. They can only hope that good luck will hold. Miles O'Brien, CNN at the Kennedy Space Center, Florida.
It was 38 years ago this month that man first landed on the moon. Only 12 people have ever walked on the surface of the moon, and the last time that happened, 1972, 35 years ago. Well, today NASA is again looking towards the skies, dreaming of going back to the lunar surface. New spacecraft designs are already being tested, and Miles O'Brien got a chance to try out one of the new simulators.
Before you can fly to the moon, you need to decide where to put the windows.
You can look out the windows
and get an idea of, you can look out to make sure you're not going to hit any structure sticking out.
That's why NASA engineers built this mock-up in Houston, to see what they can see when they fly the successor to the shuttle. And the bigger the better if you're an astronaut, right?
Well, to a point. You want to be able to see what you need to get the job done, and you want to minimize the risk, of losing a window in space.
That's Doc Horowitz, a 4-time shuttle astronaut who is now spearheading the effort to take NASA back to the moon in a spacecraft that looks back to the future. The NASA administrator has called it Apollo on steroids, a capsule called Orion on top of a rocket called Ares, much smaller, much simpler than the shuttle.
And liftoff.
Space shuttle is a very sophisticated, it's an unbelievable piece of equipment. Tremendously advanced. I like to compare it to a Ferrari.
So this is a Ford or a Chevy?
And much more so, yes.
These days, NASA engineers are running their best ideas for a space Chevy through a ringer, testing rocket motors, blasting models in wind tunnels, dropping capsules, even trying out new spacesuits. All good enough for the demanding government work of heading back to the moon by 2020. This time to build an outpost, not just to explore the moon, but also to learn how to stage a Mars mission someday. Bigger than Apollo, same shape but bigger, right?
Same shape and bigger.
And they're using another mock-up to finalize the interior design. Astronaut Lee Morin let me try it on for size. Has that been your primary goal, to make this a user-friendly spacecraft, essentially?
User-friendly and efficient to use so that the two operators can back each other up.
Unlike the shuttle, crews that fly Orion will have an escape system that separates the capsule from the rocket in a launch emergency. And the crucial heat shield is not in harm's way either.
We're showing that it's at least an order of magnitude safer to fly this vehicle than it is to fly the shuttle. You can see how far off you are in the alignment of that cone.
Just don't let me anywhere near the controls. This is my attempt to dock at the space station.
It looks like you may get close enough to get it all finished here. Close enough.
I think the computer saved me on that one.
It's close enough for government work. And we're the government.
That's right, and you are the government. Miles O'Brien, CNN, Houston.
Just don't let Miles drive. Well, NASA's new mission to the moon will not be just about planting a flag on the lunar surface or perhaps taking a golf swing and leaving. This time, NASA wants to stay. With the new spacecraft designs, the agency wants to get humans to the moon to create a self-sustaining extraterrestrial settlement. Now, it may sound like science fiction, but it could easily become reality, and sooner than you might think. Scientists also want to use the lunar surface as launching pads for missions further into space, like Mars or beyond. And as NASA points out, the moon is considered a witness to over 4 billion years of solar system history. By studying the moon, NASA believes humans will discover more about the history of Earth, our solar system, and the universe. Well, it's estimated that a mission like this to the moon is going to cost in the billions of dollars. So far, scientists from 17 countries have joined forces and are already plotting out concepts for this new moon mission. But perhaps not surprisingly, the plan also has its critics. Let's take a look at one of them, a former NASA historian who says it's not a good idea. Alex Rowland said, quote, "Anything we want to do in space, we can do now more effectively, more efficiently, and surely more safely with automated spacecraft." The thing is that despite some valid criticism about the cost and the potential risk of putting people in space, it is something that humans just can't seem to resist. Like the pull of gravity, the lure of space travel, simply too strong. Back to you.
Die Sonne brät, da braucht der Körper Kühlung. Bei Temperaturen um die 30 Grad entwickeln manche Sommerfrischler gleich neue Sportdisziplinen. In Hamburg startete eine Gummibootregatta. Allerdings hatte nicht jeder der Athleten den Sinn des Wettkampfs ganz verinnerlicht. Auch Deutschlands bekanntester Schwimmanfänger treibt Wassersport. Eisbär Knut sehnt sich im Berliner Zoo nach der Polarkälte und schmeißt sich gleich mit Pflegepersonal in den Pool. Sein Fanclub am Rand macht sich schon große Sorgen ums gar nicht mehr so kleine Kuscheltier.
Er würde sich sicher besser fühlen beim Nordpol. Ich glaube, dass der ziemlich schwitzt, weil wir Menschen schwitzen ja auch und der hat ja ziemlich dickes Fell.
Aber keine Angst, denn dieser Wassergraben kühlt wirklich ab. Knapp über 10 Grad, da brauchen auch die Pfleger ein dickes Fell. Und Knut tut's gut, das kann jeder sehen.
Er schwitzt schon ganz schön und
Er nähert sich immer wieder dem Wasser, was er immer vorher nicht getan hat. Und man merkt immer schon, er geht ein bisschen trinken, ein bisschen tiefer ins Wasser. Und dann guckt er so nach Herr Dörflein und sagt, na, darf ich ins Wasser? Und wenn der Herr Dörflein sagt, na, mach. Und dann ist der schon wieder drin.
Schließlich hat so ein Pelz ja auch einen Vorteil. Vor einem Sonnenbrand braucht sich Klein Knut nun wirklich nicht zu fürchten. Bei Menschen sieht das allerdings anders aus. Wer also, wie hier auf Sylt, den Sommer ohne Höhlen an den Körper lässt, sollte besser dick auftragen, damit es morgen gleich nochmal so schön wird. Ein echter Sonntag zum Genießen.
Die amerikanischen Nachrichtensender unterbrechen ihr Programm und Millionen Fernsehzuschauer sind live dabei, als der Sheriff Paris Hilton von ihrer Villa in Hollywood abholt und in Handschellen abführt. Da steckt doch mehr dahinter, aber niemand weiß es, sagt die Mutter. Dann bricht Chaos aus vor dem Haus der Milliardärstochter. Ein Reporter wird fast überfahren. Die Mutter schreit, lasst sie doch wenigstens durchfahren. Schließlich wird Paris Hilton in einem Wagen des Sheriffs zum Gericht gebracht, begleitet von ihren Eltern, verfolgt von Fotografen und Pressehubschraubern. Sie weint auf der Fahrt, vielleicht ahnt sie schon, was sie erwartet, denn der Richter kennt keine Gnade für die prominente Verkehrssünderin. Er verfügte, dass Paris Hilton in die Obhut des Sheriffs übergeben wird, um den Rest ihrer Strafe im Gefängnis abzusitzen. Ihre treuesten Fans wollen es nicht wahrhaben. Die Angeklagte hörte die Entscheidung des Richters in Tränen aufgelöst. Sie zitterte und rief laut schluchzend nach ihrer Mutter. Sie rief nur Nein, nein, dann fing sie richtig an zu schreien. Ihre Mutter stand auf und weinte auch, schrie Nein und dann umarmten sie sich. Es war sehr traurig und dramatisch, ein echtes Prominentendrama im Gerichtssaal. Der Sheriff war heftig kritisiert worden, weil er das Partygirl schon nach 3 Tagen aus der Haft entlassen hatte. Das Einzige, was ich als Sonderbehandlung erkennen kann, ist nun die Länge ihrer Strafe. Denn sie soll jetzt die vollen 45 Tage absitzen und kommt nicht wie die meisten Kleinkriminellen schon nach wenigen Tagen frei. Paris Hilton wurde ins Twin Tower Gefängnis von Los Angeles auf die Krankenstation gebracht. In einer Zelle für Selbstmordgefährdete wird sie rund um die Uhr bewacht.
Start zur internationalen Raumstation. Mit 3 Monaten Verspätung hat die Raumfähre Atlantis vom Weltraumbahnhof Cape Canaveral abgehoben. An Bord sind 7 Astronauten. Die Atlantis bringt unter anderem 2 neue Sonnensegel für die Stromversorgung zur ISS. Der Start war wegen Hagelschäden am Außentank mehrmals verschoben worden.
Aus Petersburg berichten Volker Albers und Bianca Thomas.
5000 Besucher in nur 2 Tagen, das kann sich sehen lassen für einen Vorort von Cincinnati. Hier im sogenannten Bibelgürtel der USA präsentiert man im Creation Museum eine recht eigenwillige Interpretation der Schöpfungsgeschichte.
Wir
hoffen, dass Christen hierher kommen und wir ihren christlichen Glauben stärken. Denn wir versuchen, die Schöpfungsgeschichte logisch zu erklären. Wir hoffen aber auch, dass Nicht-Christen kommen, um zu erkennen, dass die Schöpfungsgeschichte logisch und absolut wahr ist.
Unter logisch versteht man hier Bibelauslegung aufs Wort genau. Garten Eden, Schlange, Apfel und so weiter. Alles andere wird verteufelt. Im hauseigenen Kino wird ein Propagandafilm gezeigt, eine Art Hollywood-Engel, datieren die Entstehung der Erde auf 4000 vor Christus, erschaffen in gerade mal 6 Tagen. Alle Wissenschaftler sind Volksverhetzer und die Sintflut erhält gleich noch eine neue Bedeutung.
Die Wissenschaftler behaupten ja immer, der Grand Canyon sei in Millionen von Jahren von einem Fluss ausgewaschen worden. Aber wenn man mal ernsthaft nachdenkt, wird einem doch schnell klar, dass die Wassermassen der Sintflut diese Riesenschlucht erschaffen haben.
Kreationisten wie Sharon sind der Meinung, die Erde sei 6000 Jahre alt. Damals lebten angeblich alle Kreaturen friedlich zusammen, inklusive Dinosaurier. Bis zum Sündenfall, da spülte Gott alle außer Noah und seine Tiere davon. Dass Glauben ganz Berge versetzen kann, das hört man immer wieder. Aber die Betreiber dieses Museums gehen gleich noch einen Schritt weiter. Sie lassen ganze Jahrhunderte von Forschung und wissenschaftlichen Erkenntnissen einfach im Nebel ihrer religiösen Überzeugung verschwinden. Aufgeklärten Menschen, darunter auch der Großteil der liberaleren Christen, macht dieses pseudoreligiöse Disneyland Angst. Am Eröffnungstag gab es dann auch lautstarke Proteste vor dem Museum.
Für so etwas haben Leute 27 Millionen Dollar gespendet. Diese riesige Summe hätte nun wirklich besser eingesetzt werden können als für solche Märchen.
Die sollten das hier Bibelland nennen oder so ähnlich. Das ist doch kein wissenschaftliches Museum. Damit habe ich ein echtes Problem.
Und dieses Problem reicht bis in die Politik. Hatten doch erst neulich 3 der republikanischen Präsidentschaftskandidaten in einer TV-Runde auf die Frage, wer glaubt nicht an die Evolution, die Hand gehoben. Durchaus vorstellbar, dass die USA bald von einem Mann regiert werden, der glaubt, Dinosaurier wären ausgestorben, weil sie nicht auf die Arche Noah passten. Dabei sehen sich die Kreationisten sogar noch als zu Unrecht verfolgte Vertreter der wahren Erkenntnis.
Es stimmt, die Mehrheit der Wissenschaftler ist gegen uns. Aber jede neue Idee stand ja erst einmal gegen die gängige Meinung, sonst wäre es ja schließlich keine Entdeckung gewesen.
Für die Anhänger der Lehre gibt's passende Bücher oder DVDs im hauseigenen Bookstore. Radikal-christliche Faktenignoranz zu gar nicht christlichen Preisen, Entstehungsgeschichte im Gehirnwäsche-Schnelldurchgang. Und der Kreationistentempel in Petersburg soll erst der Anfang sein. Pläne für weitere solche Einrichtungen gibt es bereits. Die Evangelikalen wollen schließlich ja noch all die Ungläubigen überzeugen.
Raumfähre Atlantis hat beim Start in der Nacht zum Samstag einen leichten Schaden erlitten. Am hinteren Teil der Raumfähre stehe ein Stück Isolierstoff hervor, so ein NASA-Sprecher. Das Hitzeschild sei allerdings nicht beschädigt. Techniker prüfen jetzt, ob sie beim Wiedereintritt in die Erdatmosphäre gefährdet sein könnte. Die Atlantis soll am Sonntagabend gegen 9:30 an der internationalen Raumstation ISS andocken.
Not a surprise, not a worry, say the engineers.
It was at the very end or just past the aerodynamically sensitive time, and so that is something that we have come to understand and expect.
It's too early to say what might have hit the quilted blanket made of silica and woven glass. During the first shuttle mission in 1981, NASA had not yet developed the thermal blankets, and no less than 16 heat-resistant tiles fell off the orbital maneuvering system pod on Columbia. And of course, that mission ended with a happy landing. So given the history, NASA engineers say they're not too worried. As one told me, it doesn't raise my blood pressure at all. Miles O'Brien, CNN, Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Still to come, Paris Hilton now plans to serve out her time in jail. We'll look at why the media is so captivated by her story. Welcome back. Hollywood heiress Paris Hilton says she'll serve out her jail sentence. According to a statement posted on entertainment site TMZ.com, Hilton told her attorneys that she will not appeal a judge's decision on Friday that sent her back behind bars. The statement reads, in part, "I believe that I'm learning and growing from this experience." And she adds, "I would hope going forward that the public and the media will focus on more important things, like the men and women serving our country in Iraq and other places around the world." As Hilton was taken back into custody, millions did follow the story online and on television and in the papers, both in the US and over much of the world as well. Phil Black reports on the collective fascination with celebrity and with Paris Hilton herself.
Paris Hilton, socialite Paris Hilton, was led screaming from the courtroom.
Paris Hilton shouldn't have spent any time in jail. I mean, how?
Paris Hilton's troubles. She was in jail on a probation violation. She was released. Now she's back in again. It's big news throughout the Western world. New York, Sydney, London. Michael Booker from London's Daily Star Sunday calls it a cracker of a story.
This is a woman who, one of the richest women in the world. She's good looking, she can get a good blonde on the front page as well. It's just got a little bit of everything, and it's no wonder that most people are hooked on it.
From glamorous heir and socialite to traumatised jail inmate. At this London newspaper stand, there were lots of opinions on Paris Hilton, but not much sympathy.
Do you think it deserves to be on the front page, as we're seeing today?
Why not? Yes, I do, yeah. She deserves it. She puts herself in the limelight, so she has to suffer the consequences. If she stayed at home all the time and was a good girl, she wouldn't be there. She wouldn't be much fun, but she wouldn't be there.
Media professor Stephen Barnett believes the fascination is because it's about justice.
Even the rich and the famous are subject to the ordinary laws of the land, and the extent to which people like to see laws being applied regardless of how much you're worth.
And there's another theory on why this is a popular story, and it points to the darker side of human nature. While Paris Hilton is suffering publicly, it's possible some people are enjoying it. This newspaper editor admits he's one of them.
She lived this charmed life. She was born into riches. She's had riches thrust upon her by many people in the media. She's done fantastically well out of it, and now it's all coming around to bite her on the bottom.
Luckily for Paris, not everyone gives her so much thought.
When you look at that photo of her crying in tears, obviously very upset, what are the thoughts? What are the feelings?
I feel quite empty, really. I really just don't care.
Phil Black, CNN, London.
Atlantis hat an der internationalen Raumstation angedockt. Das Shuttle hat weitere Bauteile zur ISS gebracht, darunter neue Sonnensegel. Sie sollen bereits heute angebracht werden. Dazu steigen 2 Astronauten ins All. Bei weiteren Außeneinsätzen sollen die Segel dann vollständig entfaltet werden. Die Atlantis wird mindestens 11 Tage im Weltraum bleiben.
Dem Horrorcrash zerfetzt liegen bleibt, stockt den Zuschauern der Atem, denn Kubica bewegt sich nicht mehr. Doch in der Nacht verkünden dann die Ärzte etwas, was niemand für möglich gehalten hätte. Sarah Beckmann.
Mit Tempo 280 prallt BMW-Pilot Robert Kubica ungebremst in eine Mauer, überschlägt sich mehrfach und landet schließlich seitlich in den Leitplanken. Regungslos hängt der junge Pole in seinem Cockpit, bis er von Rettungskräften aus dem Wrack geborgen wird. Alle an der Strecke sind geschockt.
Ich habe dann das Auto da liegen sehen, ja, fast ohne alles, halb auf der Seite. Habe das Team gefragt, wie es dem Robert geht, aber sie wussten am Anfang auch nicht viel. Deswegen war es ein bisschen unschöner Moment im Auto zu sitzen, zu wissen, dass ein Freund, ein Teamkollege einen größeren Unfall hatte.
Nick Heidfeld behält trotz der Dramatik um seinen Teamkollegen die Nerven und fährt erstmals in dieser Saison aufs Treppchen. Nur Shootingstar Lewis Hamilton war schneller und landete im Mercedes den ersten Grand Prix-Sieg seiner jungen Karriere. Doch es sind nicht die strahlenden Sieger, sondern diese schockierenden Bilder, die um die Welt gehen. Robert Kubica wird per Hubschrauber ins Krankenhaus geflogen. Jeder hier befürchtet das Schlimmste, bis die Mediziner nach der Untersuchung das kleine Wunder verkünden. Der 22-jährige Pole ist beinahe unverletzt.
Eine Gehirnerschütterung und eine leichte Prellung am Knöchel, das ist wirklich alles, sodass man fast schon überlegen kann, ob denn Robert Kubica vielleicht schon wieder ins Auto steigen kann.
Schon heute soll Kubica aus dem Krankenhaus entlassen werden. Wer den Unfall gesehen hat, kann es kaum glauben. Dass der BMW-Pilot keine schlimmeren Verletzungen davonträgt, zeugt von extrem hohen Sicherheitsstandards der Fahrzeuge.
Ich habe das nicht für möglich gehalten. Wir sind sehr erleichtert und freuen uns doppelt. Für uns war das heute wie ein Doppelsieg. Diese Nachricht über Robert ist noch wichtiger als der 2. Platz von Nick.
Bevor Robert Kubica wieder in einen Formel-1-Wagen steigt, muss er noch einen medizinischen Check durchlaufen. Und er braucht psychologische Betreuung, um zu verarbeiten, dass er diesen Horrorcrash wie durch ein Wunder fast unversehrt überlebt hat.
Es ist was im Gange auf unserem Planeten. Die Erde schwitzt, die Gletscher schmelzen und an all dem ist der Mensch mit seinem gigantischen CO2-Ausstoß schuld. Diese derzeit gängige Theorie verwerfen jetzt einige Wissenschaftler wie der Klimatologe John Christie aus Alabama. Die Theorie sagt, dass die Erwärmung der Erdoberfläche zwingend die schnelle Erwärmung der Erdatmosphäre nach sich zieht. Doch da ist überhaupt kein nennenswerter Temperaturanstieg zu verzeichnen. Irgendetwas kann mit den Klimamodellen also nicht stimmen. Das Erdklima hat sich auch ohne Zutun des Menschen schon immer stark gewandelt, wie Eisbohrungen ergeben haben. Bei der letzten kleinen Eiszeit um das Jahr 1650 zum Beispiel war die Londoner Themse regelmäßig zugefroren. Zuvor hatte eine rund 2 Jahrhunderte dauernde Warmperiode einen früheren Abschnitt des Mittelalters geprägt.
Da war es etwa knapp 1 Grad, ein halbes Grad, wiederum vielleicht 1 Grad wärmer als heutzutage. Das ist eine Zeit, in der man ausgerückt ist, in dem die Wikinger ausgerückt sind, Grönland entdeckt haben und besiedelt haben. In der Grönland, das kommt von dem Wort grün gewesen ist. Man hat dort Ackerbau und Viehzucht betrieben.
Sind die Schlagzeilen und Horrorszenarien also nichts weiter als pure Sensationsgier? Klar haben Wissenschaftler ein vitales Interesse, Panik zu schüren, denn dann fließen mehr Gelder in die Klimaforschung.
Glauben Sie nicht immer diesen Unsinn von der Klimakatastrophe und Erderwärmung und so weiter und so fort. Es gibt ein ständiges Auf und Ab und wir wissen überhaupt nichts, was die Zukunft uns bringen wird.
Die These dieser Wissenschaftler, der CO2-Haushalt werde allein durch den Austausch zwischen der Atmosphäre und den Ozeanen geregelt. Der Mensch habe kaum Einfluss auf das Klima des blauen Planeten.
Atlantis ist leicht beschädigt an der internationalen Raumstation ISS angekommen. Eine Isoliermatte des Shuttle sei umgeknickt, so NASA-Techniker. Das Problem sei nicht gravierend und würde eventuell von den Astronauten bei einem Außeneinsatz selbst repariert werden. Zunächst war befürchtet worden, ein Stück Schaumstoff könnte die Raumfähre beim Start getroffen haben, was 2003 bei der Landung der Columbia zur Katastrophe führte.
Wie kann ein Mensch das überleben? Die Frage stellt sich wohl jeder, der die Bilder von Robert Kubicas schrecklichem Unfall beim Kanada Grand Prix gesehen hat. Mit Tempo 280 frontal in die Mauer der BMW, ein Trümmerhaufen. Wie durch ein Wunder, heißt es überall, kann Kubica fast unverletzt davon. Doch Kubica hatte auch einen ganz irdischen Schutzengel und der heißt Hans. Andreas Fontin berichtet.
Robert Kubica kurz vor dem Start in Montreal. Da konnte der Pole natürlich noch nicht wissen, dass er in diesem Rennen einen ganz besonderen Schutzengel mit an Bord haben sollte. Sein fürchterlicher Unfall, bei dem der BMW-Pilot in die Mauer krachte und sich danach überschlug, ließ das Schlimmste erahnen. Kubica steckte regungslos im völlig zerstörten Wagen fest. Bange Minuten für die gesamte BMW-Crew und seinen Teamkollegen.
Ich habe dann aber auf dem großen Screen mein Team gesehen, wie die Hände über den Kopf zusammengeschlagen haben. Und da dachte ich schon, das muss was Größeres sein. Habe dann das Auto da liegen sehen, ja, fast ohne alles, halb auf der Seite. Deswegen war es ein bisschen unschöner Moment im Auto zu sitzen, zu wissen, dass ein Freund, ein Teamkollege einen größeren Unfall hatte.
Nach der Erstversorgung an der Strecke wurde der 22-jährige Kubica mit dem Hubschrauber ins Krankenhaus geflogen. Und da gab es Stunden später dann Entwarnung. Herr Kubica hat eine leichte Gehirnerschütterung erlitten und sich den rechten Knöchel verstaucht. Das ist alles. Kaum zu glauben, dass Kubicas Zusammenstoß mit Jarno Trulli und der folgende Abflug so glimpflich ausgingen. Noch vor gut 10 Jahren wären die Folgen dramatisch gewesen.
Das spricht für diese Carbon-Autos, wo du mit voller Wucht überall dagegen fahren kannst, ohne dass es nachgibt. Zu meiner Zeit waren Aluminiumautos. Also wir wären nicht schon am Anfang beim ersten Anprall dort gewesen. Also das spricht wirklich für die Formel 1.
Vor allem Hans hat Robert Kubica gerettet, das sogenannte Head-and-Neck-System. Seit 2003 ist dieser Kopf- und Nackenschutz Pflicht. 2 elastische Bänder am Helm verhindern bei schweren Unfällen einen Genickbruch. Die Sicherheit enorm verbessert hat auch das Monocoque. Die extrem stabile Überlebenszelle aus Kohlefaser, in der die Fahrer sitzen und die gewaltigen Kräfte bei einem Aufprall abfängt. Kubicas Crash allerdings war so gewaltig, dass sogar der vordere Teil des Monocoques zerstört wurde. Und deshalb hatte er auch unglaubliches Glück.
Wir sind sehr erleichtert und freuen uns doppelt. Für uns war das heute wie ein Doppelsieg. Diese Nachricht über Robert ist noch wichtiger als der zweite Platz von Nick.
Heute Nachmittag wurde Robert Kubica bereits aus dem Krankenhaus entlassen. Er hat keine Schmerzen mehr und will sogar schon am kommenden Wochenende in Indianapolis wieder im Rennauto sitzen.
Unfassbar. Ja, dieser Horror-Crash stellte natürlich alles in den Schatten. Dabei war es ohnehin ein denkwürdiges Formel-1-Rennen. Mit Senkrechtstarter Lewis Hamilton gewinnt zum ersten Mal ein Dunkelhäutiger ein Formel-1-Rennen. Und Nick Heidfeld rast zum ersten Mal in dieser Saison aufs Podest. Marc Betz berichtet.
Diese beiden hatten wirklich allen Grund zum Jubeln. Montreal-Sieger Lewis Hamilton und Nick Heidfeld, der Zweitplatzierte. Besser als Quick Nick war eben nur der junge Brite, der im 6. Grand Prix seiner Karriere zum ersten Mal gewann.
Die sind die einzigen 2, die wirklich perfekt gefahren sind. Alle anderen sind wie Idioten gefahren. Also was die Fahrer hier heute aufgeführt haben, an unnötigen Crash, Wickeln zu machen, unkonzentriert zu sein, ist unglaublich.
Und das schon vom Start weg. Weltmeister Fernando Alonso geriet schon in der ersten Kurve auf die Wiese. Nutznießer war Heidfeld, der sich hinter Hamilton auf Rang 2 vorschob. Später musste Alonso auch noch eine 10-Sekunden-Strafe abbrummen, weil er zuvor unerlaubt an die Box gefahren war. Doch das war längst nicht alles. Nico Rosberg zum Beispiel leistete sich mit Jarno Trulli den schönsten Synchrondreher des Tages, verpasste als Zehnter aber auch die Punkte. Den Vogel jedoch schossen Felipe Massa und Giancarlo Fisichella ab. Beide überfuhren die rote Ampel an der Boxenausfahrt während einer Safety-Car-Phase und wurden folgerichtig disqualifiziert. Doch auch andere kamen nicht ins Ziel. Adrian Sutil krachte ebenso in die Mauer wie später auch Vitantonio Liuzzi. Nur 12 Piloten sahen die Zielflagge. Jarno Trulli war nicht dabei, weil er seinen Toyota statt hinter dem Safety-Car her in die Reifenstapel steuerte. Da staunte selbst der Fachmann.
Aber die Fehler, die die Fahrer gemacht haben, da in die Mauer fahren, wenn das Safety Car draußen ist, was der Trulli ja gemacht hat, ich habe so einen Schwachsinn noch nicht gesehen.
Fehlerfrei im Chaos blieb dagegen Lewis Hamilton. Der 22-Jährige triumphierte vor Heidfeld und Alexander Wurz und übernahm damit auch die Führung in der Fahrer-WM. Mit 48 Punkten liegt er nun 8 Zähler vor dem Kollege Alonso. Die Ferraris von Massa und Räikkönen liegen schon deutlich zurück und werden nun sogar von Nick Heidfeld bedrängt. Und schon am kommenden Wochenende geht's weiter. In Indianapolis kann Lewis Hamilton sein kleines Punktepolster weiter ausbauen.
1-Neuling Lewis Hamilton stand bisher nach jedem Rennen auf dem Podest. Gestern nun der erste Sieg des Briten. Aufatmen dagegen bei BMW. Der Pole Robert Kubica erlitt bei seinem Horrorunfall lediglich Prellungen und konnte heute schon wieder das Krankenhaus verlassen.
Bereits einen Tag nach seinem spektakulären Unfall denkt BMW-Sauberpilot Robert Kubica ans nächste Rennen. Mit über 280 km/h war der Pole frontal in eine Mauer geprallt, blieb aber nahezu unversehrt. Am kommenden Wochenende in Indianapolis will Kubica daher wieder im Cockpit sitzen, vorausgesetzt die Rennärzte geben grünes Licht. Sportlich nicht weniger spektakulär der erste Sieg von Jungstar Lewis Hamilton im McLaren Mercedes im erst 6. Formel-1-Rennen seiner Karriere.
Ja, es ist schon historisch für mich. Mein erster Sieg, zum ersten Mal war ich in Kanada. Ich meine, die Saison lief bislang so gut, ich war eigentlich bereit für den ersten Sieg. Die Frage war nur, wann endlich und wo?
Rang 2 in Montreal ging an den Gladbacher Nick Heidfeld. Alexander Wurz aus Österreich wurde Dritter.